hallelujah, 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 B'tzil tzilei shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, B'tzil tzilei truah. Kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah. Continue on page 145. Nishmat kol chai tvarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu ruach kol basar tfa'ir turamein zichrcha malkeinu tamid min ha'olam v'ad olam ata el mibaladecha ein lanu melech goel HaMashiach mahudel matzil u'farnesim v'rachem kol et tzara b'tzukah ein lanu melech elo ata Elohai harishonim v'achronim Elohai kol habriot Kol briot Adon kol toladot hamahulal barov hatishbachot hamnaheg olamo b'chesed u'briotav b'rachamim b'Adonai lo yanum v'lo yishan ha'orer yeshenim v'hamekitz nedamim v'hamesiach elmim v'hamatir asurim v'asomech noplim v'azokef kufim l'cha levadcha anachnu modim Ilu pinu malay shira kayamol shonenu rina kamon galav v'ziftotenu shevach merkavei rakia v'einenu meirot kashemesh v'chayareach yadenu prusot k'nishrei shamayim v'raglenu kalot kayalot ein anachnu maspikim lodot l'cha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avotenu uvarech et shimcha alachat me'elef alfei alafim Ribei Ribavot Pamim Hatovot Shasita Imavotenu Ve'imanu Mitzrayim Galtanu Adonai Eloheinu Beit Avadim Peditanu Bara'av Zantanu Savav Kilkaltanu Mecherev Fitaltanu Midever Milatatanu Umechalim Ra'im Ve'ne'emanim Dilitanu Ad hena azarunu rachamecha v'lo azavunu chasadecha v'al tichenu Adonai Eloheinu lanetzach. Al ken evarim shepilakta banu baruch neshama shenavachta v'apenu v'lashon asher samta b'finu hein yodu v'yirarchu v'yishabchu v'yiparu v'yiramu v'yaritzu v'yakdishu v'yamlichu et shimcha Malkeinu ki chol pel lecha yodeh v'chol lashon lecha tishava v'chol berach lecha tichra v'chol koma lefanecha tishtachaveh v'chol levavot yirachucha v'chol kerev uchlayot yizamru lishmecha davar shekatuv kol atzmotai tamarnu Adonai mi chamocha matzil ani mi chazak mimenu v'ani levion migos lo Mi yidmelach umi yishvelach umi yarach lach ha'el HaGadol ha'gibur v'hanora el elyon konel shamayim ba'aretz nehalelcha v'neshabechacha u'nefa'ercha u'nevarech et shem kodshecha ka'amur leDavid barchi nafshi et Adonai V'chol krovai et shem kodsho ha'el b'tatzumot uzecha HaGadol b'chvot shemecha ha'gibor lanetzach v'hanora b'noratecha ha'melech ha'yoshev al kisei ram v'nisa.
Yasher koach.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adina. Beautiful, beautiful Pesukei de Zimra. And good Shabbos, everybody. And almost Chag Sameach, but we'll get started with that tonight. So this is Shabbat HaGadol, the big Shabbos. where I used to threaten people with a sermon. Usually I spare people except on the high holidays, but this was traditionally when the rabbi would give a big sermon about all the factors of Passover that he was afraid that people had perhaps forgotten in the past year. But I won't do that today. So anyway, I forget who is on for Shacharit. Norma. Great. All right. So Norma will continue with Shacharit, and I'll put the liturgy up on the screen. We're starting on page 147.
Well, I want to wish everyone an almost Chag Sameach also.
Thank you.
Shochenad Marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranu tzadikim baranai l'yesharim nava tehila b'fi yesharim tithalal uv'divrei tzadikim titbarach uv'elshon chasidim titromam uv'kerev kadoshim titkadash uv'makalot rivavot amcha beit Yisrael B'rinoi pa'er shimcha malkeinu b'chol dor v'dor shechein chavat kol hayetzurim lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu lehodot lehalel leshabeach lefaer l'ramam lahadir levarech lalel kales al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot David ben Yishai Abdecha Meshichecha, page 148. Please stand as you are able. Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu Ha'el HaMelech HaGadol VaKadosh B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz Ki L'chana Adonai Eloheinu V'Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu Shir Shvacha Halel V'Zimra Oz Memshala Netzach Gedulah Gvura Tehila B'Tiferet Kedusha u'malchut, barachot v'hodaot, ne'ata v'yad olam, baruch atah Adonai. El melech gadol b'tishbachot, el ha'hodaot, adon ha'niflaot, habocher b'shirei zimra, melech elchei ha'olamim, yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah. Yirtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei l'chol beit Yisrael v'galav v'zman kari v'imru amen Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'olam olmei maya Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kudesho b'richu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damiran li'olma l'imru amen. Page 149. Baruch hu Adonai ha'mevarach. Baruch Adonai ha'mevarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam yotzer or uvorei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol hakol yoducha v'hakol yishabchucha v'hakol yomru ein kadosh k'Adonai hakol yorom amucha selah yotzer hakol. Each day, God, you raise the gates of the east, open the windows of the sky, bring forth the sun from its place and the moon from where it sits, illuminating the entire world and all its inhabitants whom you created with mercy. With kindness you illumine the earth and all who dwell on it, and in your goodness day after day you renew creation. Sovereign, you alone ruled on high from the very beginning, praised, glorified, and exalted since earliest time. Bottom of page 150. Ein ki yerkecha v'yein zulatecha efes biltecha umidom elach. Ein ki yerkecha v'yein zulatecha efes biltecha umidom elach. Ein ki yerkecha ba'olam hazeh v'yein zulatecha l'chayei olam haba. Efes biltecha limot HaMashiach v'yein domeh lecha litfiat hametim. El Adon al kol hamasim baruch u'baruch b'fi kol neshama gadlo v'tuvo male olam da'at u'tvuna sovu v'imoto hamid ga'el al chayot hakodesh v'nedar b'chavod al hamerchavat zechor u'mishor lifnei kiso chesed v'rachamim lifnei kavodo Tovim ma'od shebara Eloheinu yitzaram b'da'at b'vina uv'haskel koach u'gvura natan bahem liyod moshlim b'kereb tevel mole'im ziv u'mefikim noga na'ezivam b'chol olam semechim b'tzeitam v'sasim b'voam osim be'em maratzon konam pe'er b'chavor notnim lishmot tzahalav arina lezecher malchuto kara lashemesh vayizrach ura v'hitkin surat halvana shevach notnim lo al tzeva maram Tiferet Ugdula Seraphim the Ofanim B'chayot HaKodesh Lai 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 Page 152 La El Asher Shavat Mikol Hamasim B'yom hashvi'i hitalav yoshav al kisei kvodo tiferet atal yom hamenucha oneg koro l'yom hashabbat zeshevach shel yom hashvi'i shavo shabbat Adonai mikol malachto b'yom hashvi'i mishabech v'yomer mizmor shir l'yom hashabbat tov lahodot l'Adonai leficha kifaru v'yivarchu le'el kol yitzurav Shabach Yekor Ugdula Yitnu Le'el Melech Yotzer Kol Hamanchil Menucha Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato B'Yom Shabbat Kodesh Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu Yitkadesh V'Zichrocha Malkeinu Yitpa'er B'Shamayim Yal V'Yal Ha'aretz Mitachat Page 153 Titbarach Tzurenu Malkeinu V'Go Aleinu Borei Kedoshim Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkeinu Yotzer Meshartim V'Yaser Meshartov Kulam Omdim B'Rum Olam U'Mashmi'im B'Yira Yachad B'Kol Divrei Elohim Chayim U'Melech Olam Kulam Ahuvim Kulam Berurim Kulam Giborim V'Kulam Osim B'Ema U'Yira Retzon Konaham B'kulam potchim et pihem b'kedusha u'v'tahara b'shira u'b'zimra u'mevarchim u'meshabchim u'mefarim u'maritzim u'makdishim u'mamlichim et shem ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol ha'gibor v'hanora kadosh hu v'chulam mekablim alehem o malchut shamayim zemizeh v'chulam mekablim Alehem, O Malchut Shamayim Zemizeh, V'chulam Mekablim Alehem, O Malchut Shamayim Zemizeh, V'chulam Mekablim Alehem, O Malchut Shamayim Zemizeh, V'notnim Reshut Zelazel, Lahakdish Liotzram B'nachad Ruach, V'safa B'rura U'b'numa Kadosha, Kulam Ki'echad, Onim v'yomrim b'yir'ah, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech kol ha'aretz kavodo, V'ha'ofanim v'chayot ha'kodesh, B'ra'ash gadol mitnasim limat tzurafim, Le'umatam b'shabchim yomrim, Baruch kavod Adonai b'imkomo. Le'el baruch nimot yitenu lemelech el chai v'kayom zmirot yomeru v'tishbachot yashmiu ki hu levado po'el gevurot osech hadashot bal milchamot zoreh tzedakot matzmiach yeshuot borei refuot norot tehilot adon haniflaot hamachadesh b'tuvo b'chol yom tamid maaseh bereshit ka'amor liosei orim gedolim כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני. יוצר המאורות, page 154. אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ותרח עמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו ואמותינו, שבחו בך, אבינו מלכנו. ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכננו ותלמדנו, אבינו האב הרחמן, המרחם רחמנו. ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבנו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול הנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. הביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. page 155. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, בכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאותה ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Continue on page 156. ויען שמוע תשמעו מצוותי אשר אנוכי מצווך אתכם היום לאהבה אדוני אלוהיכם, לעבדו בכל לבבכם ובכל נפשכם, ונתתי את ארצכם ואיתו יראה מלכוש, ויספת דגנך ותירושך ויצריך, ונתת עשב בשרך לבהמתך ואכלת בשבת. הישמרו לכם פן יפתה לבבכם, וסרתם ועבדתם אלוהים אחרים, והשתחוויתם לכם בכורה אף אדוני בכם, ויצר את השמיים. ולא יהיה מטר לאדמה, לא תיתן את תפילה, ועבדתם בהרה מעל הארץ הטובה אשר אדוני נתן לכם. ושמתם את דברי אלה על לבבכם ועל נפשכם, וקשרתם אותם לאות על ידכם, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניכם, ולימדתם אותם את בניכם לדבר בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וכתבתם את מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען ירבו ימיכם וימי בניכם, על האדמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיכם לתת לכם כימי השמיים על הארץ. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בידיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, הזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem Emet. Adonai Elohechem Emet. V'yatziv v'nachon v'kayom v'yashar v'ne'eman v'yahu v'chaviv v'nechmod. V'na'im v'vorei v'yadir v'metukan v'mekubal v'tov v'yafeh hadavar hazeh aleinu v'yolam v'ed. Emet Elohei Olam Malkeinu Tzuri Yaakov Magen Yishenu. Lidor vador hu kayam ushmo kayam v'chisonachon u'malchuto v'yamunato la'ad kayamed. Udvarot chayim v'kayamim ne'manim v'nechbadim la'ad olamei olamim al avotenu v'imotenu v'yoleinu al banenu v'al doratenu v'al kol dorot zera Yisrael avadecha al harishonim. Al harishonim v'ha'achronim davar tov v'kayam le'olam va'ed emet v'yumina chok v'lo ya'avor emet shatohu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'matenu malkeinu melech avotenu v'matenu go aleinu goel avotenu v'imotenu yotzreinu tzur yeshuatenu podenu u'matzilenu me'olam shemecha ein Elohim zulatecha Ezrat avotenu v'imotenu atohu me'olam magen yishenu v'libnechem achareihem b'chol dor v'dor barum olam m'shavecha v'mishpatecha v'tzidkatcha arafsei aretz ashrei ish sheyishma l'mitzvotecha v'toratcha u'dorcha yasima libo emet atohu adan li'amecha u'melech gibor lariv rivam emet 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 atohu rishon emet Emet, emet atahu acharon, umibaladecha elanu melech, melech goel umoshia, umibaladecha elanu melech, melech goel umoshia. Page 158. Mitzrayim galtanu Adonai Eloheinu, umideit avadim pedutenu, Kol b'choreihem haragta v'chorcha ga'alta v'yamsuf bakata v'zeidim tibata v'yidim he'avarta v'echasu mayim sareihem echad mehem lo natar al zot shibchu ahuvim romamuel v'natnu yididim v'zmirot shirot v'tishbachot brachot v'hodaot l'melech el chai v'kayam Ram v'nisa gadol v'nora mashpil geim u'magbia shefalim motzi asirim u'foda anavim v'yozer dalim v'oneli amo v'et shavam elav tehilot le'el elyon baruch hu u'mavodah Moshe Yisrael, Moshe Miriam b'nei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru kulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha neder b'kodesh nohora tehilot osefele Shira Charasha, Shibchu B'ulim L'Shimcha Sfatayam, Yachad Kulam Hodu V'Himlichu V'Yomru, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed. Please rise as you are able. Sur Yisrael, Kuma V'Ezrat Yisrael, Ufdei Kinemecha, Yehuda V'Yisrael, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai Ba'al Yisrael. Page 159. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ba'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanura El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot v'mevi goel livnei v'neihem l'man shemo b'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen baruch atah Adonai magen Abraham u'foked Sarah atah gibor le'olam Adonai mechayei metim atah rav lehoshia Moshiv haruach u'morid hagashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Kayem Emunataho, Vishenei Afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Mimit, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ne'eman Atal Hachayot, Netim Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye Hametim.
לקדש את שמך בעולם, ישראל, תיקוד בשמם הרום, ובידביך, וקרא זה, זה ואמר.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד אביך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו, אז בקור אשקלון אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים ומצרפים ומצם ברוך יאמרו.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקול רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנשאים ומצרפים ומתם ברוך יאמרו.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקום, ממקומך מלכנו צופיה, ותמלוך המלך מכריחים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך בציון וקרוב בימינו לעולם בעת תשכון, תקרא ותקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור נצח נצחים.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, ממקומך מלכנו צופיה, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך בציון, וקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון, תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור ולנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד משיח צדקך.
ימלוך אדוני אלוהיך ציון, ודור הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Kaddish Shalem is found on page 167. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba v'yamad divrach yirtei v'yamlik malchutei b'chayei chonuv yomei chonuv chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imaru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach olam u'olmei omaya Yiparach, Yiparach, Yikadash, Yipar, Yipramam, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitalo, Shemei Dekudasho, Barichu, La'elam, Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tush B'chata V'Nechemata, Damiran V'Alma, V'Yimaru, Amen. Tikabel Tzalotanu V'Tan D'Chol Yisrael, Kadam Avuhon Dibishemaya, V'Yimru, Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'imru
Amen.
Oseh Shalom b'mramavu yaseh Shalom aleinu v'el kol Yisrael v'el kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru Amen.
Yashkoach. Well, thank you, Norma.
My pleasure.
We will now turn to Torah service, which tomorrow, actually, when we are doing we will be doing an actual Torah service. So I invite you all for that level of excitement. I'm hoping to. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read from a scroll. This is the first time I will have tried to do so for a year. But we'll see how it goes. So today we are reading Parashat Tzav. It is Shabbat HaGadol, so we do have a special Haftarah. And so Jim Leffert, I believe, is going to read the first three.
Right.
And then I will, unless we have someone else, I will pick up the rest after that. Is that accurate, Susan?
Yes.
Great.
We're starting at Leviticus chapter 7, verse 11. We're on the middle portion in the triennial cycle. If you're using your HIM, it's page 617.
Great.
The first aliyah is verses 11 to 15.
Give me 1 second. I thought I had it all set, but I guess I did not. Okay, let's see here.
And I can do the English.
Wait, I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, boy. So I apologize. Give me a moment. There we go. All right. Susan, please remind me where we're starting again.
Chapter 7, verse 11, page 617.
Great.
Are you ready?
So Jim Leffert is going to be doing the reading, and I invite Jim you to read to start with the blessing for the Torah study.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
V'zot Torat zevach hashlamim asher yakriv l'Adonai im al todah hayakrivenu v'hikriv al zevach hatodah Chalot matzot v'lulot b'shemen urikikei matzot meshuchim b'shamen v'solet murbechet chalot v'lulot b'shamen al chalot lechem chametz yakriv korbano al zevach todat shlamav V'hikriv mimenu echad mikol korban Truma Ladonai Lekohen Hazorek Et Dam Hashlamim Lo Yihiyeh Uvetzah Zevach Todah Hachlamav Biyom Karbano Ye'achel Lo Yaniach Mimenu Ad Boker.
This is the ritual of the sacrifice of well-being that one may offer to the Lord. If he offers it for thanksgiving, he shall offer together with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes with oil mixed in, unleavened wafers spread with oil, and cakes of choice flour with oil mixed in, well soaked. This offering, with cakes of leavened bread added, he shall offer along with his thanksgiving sacrifice of well-being. Out of this he shall offer one of each kind as a gift to the Lord. It shall go to the priest who dashes the blood of the offering of well-being. And the flesh of his thanksgiving sacrifice of well-being shall be eaten on the day that it is offered. None of it shall be set aside until morning. The next Aliyah, we'll be reading verses 16 to 18.
V'im neder o nedava zevach korbano b'yom hakrivo et zivcho ye'achel umi macharat v'hanotar mimenu ye'achel v'hanotar mibsar hazavach Bayom hashlishi ba'eshi saref v'ihim ha'achol ye'achel mibsar zava zevach shlamav Bayom hashlishi lo yeratzeh Hamakrihivoto Lo Yechashev Lo Piguliya Nefesh Haochelet Mimenu Avona Tisa.
If, however, the sacrifice he offers is a votive or a free will offering, it shall be eaten on the day that he offers his sacrifice, and what is left of it shall be eaten on the morrow. What is then left of the flesh of the sacrifice shall be consumed in fire on the third day. If any of the flesh of his sacrifice of well-being is eaten on the third day, it shall not be acceptable. It shall not count for him who offered it. It is an offensive thing, and the person who eats of it shall bear his guilt. The next Aliyah, verses 19 to 21.
V'habasar asher yigaha bechol tameh lo ye'achel ba'esh yisaref v'habasar kol tahor yochal basar v'hanefesh asher tochal basar mizevach hashlamim asher ladonai v'tumato ahalav v'nichreta hanefesh hahi meyameha.
One more.
Oh, one more. Oh.
Yeah, to 21.
Oh. V'nefesh ki tigah bechol tameh B'tumahat adam o b'vehema t'me'ah o b'chol sheket tameh ve'achal Mipsar zevach hashlamim asher ladonai v'nichreta hanefesh me'ameha.
Flesh that touches anything impure shall not be eaten. It shall be consumed in fire. As for other flesh, only he who is pure may eat such flesh. But the person who, in a state of impurity, eats flesh from the Lord's sacrifices of well-being, that person shall be cut off from his kin. When the person touches anything impure, be it human impurity or an impure animal or any impure creature, and eats flesh from the Lord's sacrifices of well-being, that person shall be cut off from his kin. Yishakov, Jim. The next aliyah is verses 22 to 27.
Yishakov, Jim. Okay, so 22 to 27. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Israel lemor, kol chelev shor v'cheves va'ez lo tochelu, v'chelev nevela v'chelev terefa ye'aseh lechol melacha. V'achol lo tochluhu, ki kol ochel chelev min ha-behema, asher yakriv mimenu ishel Adonai. V'nichreta ha-nefesh ha'ochelet me'ameha, וכל דם לא תאכלוהו בכל מושבותיכם לעוף ולבהמה, כל נפש אשר תאכל כל דם, ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מעמיה.
And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelite people thus: You shall eat no fat of ox or sheep or goat. Fat from animals that died or were torn by beasts may be put to any use, but you must not eat it. If anyone eats the fat of animals from which gifts may be made to the Lord, the person who eats it shall be cut off from his kin. And you must not consume any blood, either of bird or of animal, in any of your settlements. Anyone who eats blood shall be cut off from his kin. The next aliyah is verse 28 to verse 31.
וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל לאמור, המקריב את זבח שלמיו לאדוני, יביא את קורבנו לאדוני מזבח שלמיו. ידיו תביאנה את אישי אדוני, את החלב על החזה יביאנו את החזה, להניף אותו תנופה לפני אדוני, ויקטיר הכהן את החלב המזבחה, והיה החזה. Is this 31 to 36?
That's the end.
לאהרון ולבניו.
And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the Israelite people thus: The offering to the Lord from a sacrifice of well-being must be presented by him who offers his sacrifice of well-being to the Lord. His own hands shall present the Lord's gifts. He shall present the fat with the breast to be elevated as an elevation offering before the Lord. The priest shall turn the fat into smoke on the altar, and the breast shall go to Aaron and his sons. The next aliyah is verses
32 32 through 34.
32 to 34. Sorry.
It show kayamin titendu teruma lakohen mizivche shalmechem hamakachri vetam shalamim vietachelev mibnei Aharon lo tihyeh Shok hayamin limana ki et chaze hatenufa ve'et shok hateruma lakachti me'et bnei Yisrael mizivche shalmehem Va'aten otam le'Aharon HaKohen ulvanav lechok olam me'et bnei Yisrael.
And the right thigh from your sacrifices of well-being you shall present to the priest as a gift. He from among Aaron's sons who offers the blood and the fat of the offering of well-being shall get the right thigh as his portion. For I have taken the breast of elevation offering and the thigh of gift offering from the Israelites from their sacrifices of well-being and given them to Aaron the priest and to his sons as their due from the Israelites for all time. And the last aliyah is verses 35 to the end of the chapter, verse 38.
Zot mishchat Aharon umishchat banav me'ishe Adonai beyom hikriv otam lechahen l'Adonai asher tziva Adonai latet lahem beyom Mashcho otam me'et bnei Yisrael chukat olam ledochotam Zot hatochra la'ola lamincha v'lachatat v'la'asham V'la milu'im ulzevach hashlamim asher tziva Adonai et Moshe behar Sinai bayom tzavoto et bnei Yisrael le'akriv et korbanehem L'Adonai b'midbar Sinai.
Those shall be the perquisites of Aaron and the perquisites of his sons from the Lord's gifts, once they have been inducted to serve the Lord as priests. These the Lord commanded to be given them, once they had been anointed, as a due from the Israelites for all time throughout the ages. Such are the rituals of the burnt offering, the grain offering, the purification offering, the reparation offering, the offering of ordination, and the sacrifice of well-being, with which the Lord charged Moses on Mount Sinai when he commanded that the Israelites present their offerings to the Lord in the wilderness of Sinai.
So Yasher Koach Susan, Yasher Koach Jim, thank you very much.
Yasher Koach Jim.
Stop
Jim and Jim
for a minute. And we will be turning to the Haftarah in just a moment. But at this point, we will have an opportunity for Misha Berach. So I invite you to unmute yourself if you would like to name someone who is in need of healing. And as I go around the room, I'll call people's names and feel free to share those names. Okay, let's see here. All right. Miriam.
Eddie Batsara, Sarah bat Abigail, Elon ben Bered, Jean bat HaGadol, Amy bat Rivka, Jane, Nikki, Ben, and Jerry.
Thank you. Susan?
Sarah Brand, Elizabeth Brand, Jennifer Chung, Judy Turner, and Michelle Valdopia.
Lori and Stephen.
Lynn and Steve Bressler, Larry DeCara, and Jane Barker.
Jim Leffert.
Tudley's dad, Tom Kay, and John Fennerless.
Sherry.
Ruth Sarah.
Susan Cohen.
Rick Kellerman, Gail Weisberg.
Sandy.
Ellen Zuniga, David Engel, Elaine Skolnick, Alvin Glazerman. We'll leave it there.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Harriet.
Sandra Olansky, Paul Flicker, Richard Ford, Norman Newberg, and Inge de Wilde.
Lauren.
Ruth Batsara.
Adina.
Yona bat Miriam David, Ziva Garbi, Ruth Horowitz.
Ruth.
Zora bat Hannah.
And Lois.
Lori, Stacy, Sandy, and Jerry. Thank you.
Thanks, Lois. All right, I will add my cousin, Tamara but Miriam, and my father, Jim Morgan. All right, so we will turn now to page 173 in our prayer book, which is here. Oopsie, sorry everybody. There we go. Okay. Mi shebera chavotenu mekor beracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor beracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, so I invite someone who would like to read the Haftarah. Do I have a volunteer today? Let's see. I guess, all right, Lauren, we're going to press you back into service. Okay.
If you're in your book, it's on page.
Wait one moment. Ruth, did you wave your hand and I just missed it because I don't have your picture on the screen?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Great, lovely. Give Petra and Lauren a break. That'd be great. All right, so the
So where are we? Or it'll be on the screen, I guess.
it'll be on the screen. The blessings are on page 175. Those are on the screen.
Oh, I'm not going to lead the blessings.
No, that's okay. We'll do it. We can do it together.
You can lead the blessings.
Sounds good. All right. So everyone who would like to participate in the blessing, please feel free. Baruch.
Muted.
I'm muted.
Unmuted?
Yes. No.
I actually have a really bad connection. It keeps going in and out.
I have a bad connection.
Well, so do I.
Are other people having a hard time hearing me?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here goes. You can you can practice the Haftarah blessing as I go ahead.
Wait, let's tell people where the Haftarah is.
Yes.
It's Malachi chapter 3, verses 4 to 24. If you're using your Eitz Chaim, the discussion of it starts on page 1295, and the actual Haftarah 1296.
And it'll take me a couple of seconds to scroll to the Haftarah. So please, I ask for your indulgence. All right, here's the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha b'di'im tovim v'chatzaha v'divreihem hane'amarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'tochra Moshe Avdoho, Yisrael Amoho, Uvinvi'eh Ha'emet Vatzedek.
Surely the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem shall be pleasing to the Lord as in the days of yore and in the days of old. But first I will step forward to contend against you, and I will act as a relentless accuser against those who have no fear of me, who practice sorcery, who commit adultery, who swear falsely, who cheat laborers of their hire, and who subvert the cause of the widow, orphan, and stranger, said the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I have not changed, and you are the children of Jacob, you have not ceased to be. From the very days of your fathers, you have turned away from my laws and have not observed them. Turn back to me, and I will turn back to you, said the Lord of hosts. But you ask, how shall we turn back? Ought men to defraud God? Yet you are defrauding me. And you ask, how have we been defrauding you? In tithe and contribution, you are suffering under a curse, yet you go on defrauding me, the whole nation of you. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, and let there be food in my house, and thus put me to the test, said the Lord of hosts. I will surely open the floodgates of the sky for you and pour down blessings on you. And I will banish the locusts from you so that they will not destroy the yield of your soil, and your vines in the field shall no longer miscarry, said the Lord of hosts. And all the nations shall account you happy, for you shall be the most desired of lands, said the Lord of hosts. You have spoken hard words against me, said the Lord. But you ask, what have we been saying among ourselves against you? You have said, it is useless to serve God. What have we gained by keeping his charges and walking in abject awe of the Lord of hosts? And so we account the arrogant happy. They have indeed done evil and endured. They have indeed dared God and escaped. In this vein have those who revere the Lord been talking to one another. The Lord has heard and noted it, and a scroll of remembrance has been written at his behest concerning those who revere the Lord and esteem his name. And on the day that I am preparing, said the Lord of hosts, they shall be my treasured possession. I will be tender towards them, as a man is tender toward a son who ministers to him. And you shall come to see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between him who has served God and him who has not served him. For lo, that day is at hand, burning like an oven. All the arrogant and all the doers of evil shall be straw. And the day that is coming, said the Lord of hosts, shall burn them to ashes and leave of them neither stalk nor boughs. But for you who revere my name, a son of victory shall rise to bring healing. You shall go forth and stamp like stall-fed calves, and you shall trample the wicked to a pulp, for they shall be dust beneath your feet on the day that I am preparing, said the Lord of hosts. Be mindful of the teaching of my servant Moses, whom I charged at Horeb with laws and rules for all Israel. Lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Lord. He shall reconcile parents with children and children with their parents, so that when I come, I do not strike the whole land with utter destruction. Lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Lord.
So we will turn now to the Haftarah blessings afterwards. Feel free to join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol olamim tzaddik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer yoseh ha'medaber u'mkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha v'devar echad midevarecha achor lo yashuv rekam Ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el ne'eman b'chol devarav rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu v'la'alu et nefesh toshia b'mehera b'yameinu baruch ata Adonai misamech Tzion b'vaneha samechenu Adonai Eloheinu b'Eliyahu hanavi abdecha ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסאו לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא יכבה נרו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. All right, so we have a few moments. I'm going to propose that since probably there's some amount, maybe not as much as on a regular Pesach, it's hard to imagine actually saying that, a regular Pesach, but I know that I still have some Seder preparations to take care of, so I think we will not embark on a lengthy Torah discussion, but I did just note, I was speaking yesterday with our bar and bat mitzvah group and saying that there is some strain within the liberal movements, and I don't know to what degree this is the same in Orthodoxy, just, of sort of looking almost at this idea of chametz as being puffed up, and it's sort of like in yourself, in the certain parts of yourself you need to get rid of, and focus on the non chametzi stuff in your personality. And it struck me yesterday that it seems a little bit Yom Kippurish in a way. And then this as Ruth was reading this Haftarah, I noticed, well, lo and behold, it says here, you should return to me and I will return to you. So clearly this sort of strain of mini tshuva is evident here in the Haftarah, as well as in the sort of more recent rabbinic understandings of it. So anyway, I see that Jim has his hand raised, and Mikkel has unmuted herself. So let's have those two people can start.
Could I be number three, Jim?
Sure, Marty. You can be after Mikkel if she wants to speak. She's now unmuted herself. She has now muted herself. So maybe that means that she doesn't want to talk. I don't know, but we can ask her. Okay, so Jim, Mikkel, and Marty if Mikkel wants to.
Well, on the same point that you just made, we just completed a section of several, the whole first 7 chapters of Leviticus that are about the different sacrifices. And the last one was the shlamim, which can be translated as well-being or communion. It seems to be a very positive sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice of repentance. And I just couldn't help but notice today, as I was preparing the Torah reading, that the offerings for this day include chametz. So obviously, in this situation, chametz has in this injunction, chametz has a positive connotation. There's something about cakes that rise that distinguish this sacrifice.
I love that. That's great. Nicole, go ahead.
Well, I just came on just this second, so I missed the Torah reading and everything else, but that has never stopped me. And
thank God for that. Baruch Hashem.
I was glad to hear what I heard was what you said, Rabbi Jim. It makes a kind of connection between, if I understood you correctly, coming in so late, makes a connection between Pesach and Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And I was looking for that connection as of last week, because it seems to me the Torah and the Haftarah that we've read recently makes that connection, but not explicitly. So I'm very glad to hear you make it more explicit. That's very helpful to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'll just point out in that, that the Haftarah talks about the great, awesome day of the Lord, right, which is coming, which is not so different in certain ways from, the Unatana Tokef, this idea of this awesome day, right? That the day itself somehow carries this awesome power. So there does seem to be a little bit of a hint. All right, go ahead, Marty, and then I see Adina.
Can I just say one
thing? Oh, yeah, one more thing
There's some connection narratively between the journey that Abraham makes. He rises early and goes in haste. He obeys in haste without delay and makes the journey to the top of the mountain to make this sacrifice, if needed, of Isaac. There's some connection there to the much bigger, longer journey that ends up on the mountaintop too. Just narratively, there's a connection. Okay, that's.
Thank you. Go ahead, Marty. You have to unmute yourself, though.
You're muted, Marty.
Yeah, okay. Now you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. That's a cute dog, Jim.
Thank you.
So I wanted a sort of small point in the reading in the Torah Haftarah, I guess. Things are given to Aaron's sons, right? So we have all, and I'm just thinking of we have longitudinal in terms of time levels. Aaron's sons are praised and honored, and then they commit a sin or a bit and are taken down. And we sort of move from a very hierarchical model to one that is more equalitarian. And it was sort of, I guess it's written that way and it's read that way over hundreds of years. It wasn't all, I mean, that's another cut at who wrote the Bible. And we come to Deuteronomy, and Moses is, by that time, Moses is has been lowered. He doesn't go to the promised land. And then we come many hundreds of years later in the 200-300 in the Common Era, and the rabbis take over Pesach in the Haggadah. Moses is not mentioned in the Haggadah. So we have all these slices, and you can see them in terms of time. And we all read, we're sitting here in 2000, and we read all of them. And I wanted to point out, sort of a longitudinal way and in the richness of this.
Yeah. There was an article that I read the other day. I don't remember who wrote it at this point. My short-term memory is not as good as it used to be, but she described, our textual tradition as a palimpsest, right? That nothing is ever fully erased, right? We sort of retain traces of every era in all of our texts. So that's kind of what.
And what does she make of that? I mean, you said it was a.
Right. It was Rabbi Robin Podolsky. She was making the point, right, that just because we have a text that might seem to be sort of not appetizing to us, even offensive to us, right? That we have a whole range of ways of reading our texts, right? And that the examples she gave, right, are of polygamy, right, which is just an accepted fact in biblical times, right? And by the 1000 of the Common Era, right, it's basically outlawed among at least Ashkenazi Jews, and later in Sephardi. So that these things, nothing is sort of completely written in stone, yet we don't lose track of what was before. Go ahead, Adina, and then I see Miriam.
Okay, this question is really a Shabbat HaGadol question. I think if there's been a lot of discussion among some people with whom I'm sharing Seder Zooming about tomorrow night's, the order of Kiddush and Havdalah, and how do we do it exactly? Do we a candle for Havdalah? I mean, there's anyway, if somebody could guide me a little bit so that I can share that.
I would need to bone up on. I have to confess that this year I'm going to inhabit my in my home practice. I'm going to inhabit my reform sense, I think, and just be with my kid. I'm not sure we're going to do a second Seder. So I have not boned up on that, but Adina, I can.
Okay, well, I can talk with other people, or maybe someone
Miriam's looking it up.
Miriam is looking it up as we speak. Is that true?
Yayin Kiddush.
Great. All right. Perfect. I can look right now. Yeah. Go ahead, Miriam.
Well, I've got a Haggadah here, which I first has you doing the order of the Seder and the Kiddush, and then has Havdalah. It says, if it's
right,
this is what you do. So at least one source, and I think this is basically traditional.
Yeah.
That's what they did with it. But to return to the readings for today and the earlier comment about, it being almost the connection to Yom Kippur, it reminded me that while I don't normally go to services during the week, I know that the traditional practice is that twice a week in the morning service, there's something called Tachanan, which is a prayer for forgiveness of sins. So you don't wait till the end of, to once a year review where you are. But in reading about the sacrifices, I'm making an unrelated point here. I'm kind of rambling and I apologize for that.
Awesome.
But what I'm thinking of in connection with the sacrificial system and these offerings that were being made is a part of what they are. And there's the reference to tithes in the Haftarah as well. This is a system for providing for the Levites who don't have land. So therefore, they are among the category of the needy. They have to be provided for by the community. And that just feels to me to tie in very much with the spirit of the holiday and with it's being such a communal festival for us.
That's great. Thank you. Go ahead, Ruth. Ruth, you're muted though.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, good. It just gets to what you were saying about the Hametz. What I was thinking as I was reading this amazing Haftarah is that it's really non-interior for a Haftarah portion for the prophets in general. It's more like, don't do these things, like sorcery or cheating people or subverting, in the case of the widow, orphan, and stranger. And then God delivers this text as on both sides, accuser and potential forgiver. So it really isn't one of those portions where it is about fixing your personality. It really is more about just
definitely
don't do these things or I will wipe you out like an oven. So for what it's worth, I mean, it's a nice thought, but maybe it just speaks to my own kind of pessimism and general negativity that that doesn't seem like it would cut it with God in this particular passage.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to make too fine a point of it, right? That I don't mean to suggest, right, that this Haftarah, right, is backing up the specific rabbi I have in mind is Larry Kushner, who has a lot of wonderful sort of semi-mystical, but very sort of also quite practical sort of understandings of Jewish symbols, and so I think that it's him that speaks about this. So I'm not saying that Larry Kushner looked to this Haftarah. I was just taken by the idea that God says to the people, "You should return to me, and I will return to you." Which is kind of high holiday language, and then just this sort of awesome day of the Lord. But you're absolutely right, Ruth, that the specifics here, right? And I did love that kind of imagined dialogue between the accuser and the ones that are being accused, where it's as though he imagines that the people are playing dumb. What do you mean? What do you mean we're cheating you? How exactly are we cheating you? That's not really the case. Right. So, but yeah.
Well, I think it just like fascinates me as a rhetorical thing that this is the way to completely deprive someone else of interiority. And I mean, it's God, so fair enough, right?
Right.
But it just seems like this would be the opposite of saying like, oh, you just have to look inside yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, no, I'm looking inside you and I'm looking outside you, and don't do this.
Right. Well, it does get to that sort of, sort of the people who feel so overwhelmed by an all-powerful, all-powerful, all-knowing God, right? It sort of speaks to that sort of almost sense of helplessness in the face of it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Other thoughts? All right. So thank you all. So do I have a volunteer for reading the prayer for the country? I'm not looking at my screen, so if you're waving your hand, I don't see it. Let's see. So I'm going to pick somebody here. Let's see who hasn't. Harriet, are you with us? Would you be willing to read off the screen? I can't hear you either.
I don't have the text, so could you please have someone else do it?
Absolutely. Let's see. Go ahead, Sue Glassman. Perfect. And I'll put it on the screen in case Sue, you don't have it in front of you.
Okay, am I?
Yes. What page is it?
You're audible. Yep.
I'm audible. Okay.
Page 177.
Yes, thank you. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice. You have decreed so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land. Adonai, God, whose spirit is in all creatures, we pray that your spirit be awakened within all the inhabitants of our land. Uproot from our hearts hatred and malice, jealousy and strife. Plant love and companionship, peace and friendship among the many peoples and faiths who dwell in our nation. Grant us the knowledge to judge justly, the wisdom to act with compassion, and the understanding and courage to root out poverty from our land. May it be your will that our land be a blessing to all who dwell on earth, and may you cause all peoples to dwell in friendship and freedom. Speedily fulfill the vision of your prophets. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. For all of them, from the least of them to the greatest, shall know me. And let us say amen.
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 All right. So we will. Okay, so we will continue now. Thank you, Su Yasher Koach. We will continue with our with Yismechu, which is found on page 189. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Mekadeshei mekadeshei sheli Shabbat. Kulam yispehu v'tanegu mituvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Vashvihi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdad yamim otoho karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'kor'ei honeg Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh v'reshit Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh v'reshit Shabbat. Page 191. Asim shalom tova uveracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha Barecheinu avinu kulanu ke'echad Bior panecha Barecheinu avinu kulanu ke'echad kulanu ve'echad Bior panecha ki bior panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu tochat chayim v'ahavat chesed u'tzedaka uveracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom v'tov be'enecha levarech et amecha Yisrael עולת ובכל שעה בכל עת וכל שעה בשלומך. יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה לה יאללה לה לה יאללה לה 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 la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ay ya la 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 ya. So we'll turn now to page 204. En Keloheinu, en Kadonenu, en Kemalkenu, en Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Keloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkenu, mi Kemoshienu, ken como nuestro Dios, ken como nuestro Señor, ken como nuestro Rey, ken como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu, lo haremos nuestro Dios, lo haremos nuestro Señor, lo haremos nuestro Rey, lo haremos nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, dicho nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, tu el nuestro Dios, tu el nuestro Señor, tu el nuestro Rey, tu el nuestro Salvador. I invite you to rise, page 205 for the Elenum. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei kudula yotzeh bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקחרו בשמיים ממעל, שכינתו זו, בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו את פסולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום וישבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. על כן נכבד לך אדוני אלוהינו, תרוד מהרה ציווי זכר לאבינו. וכתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יחיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. So we will turn to page 207 for Mourner's Kaddish. I invite those of you who are remembering people today to unmute yourselves. As a minyan, we are remembering this week. This past Tuesday was the yard site of Ben Sion Gold, and so we will be remembering him today. Nemo Rothschild, Jerry, would you just mute for 1 moment?
Oh, I am Mr. Summers.
There we go. Somehow with Jerry, we've got some feedback. So in Seymour Rothschild's yard site is coming up, I believe. I can't remember if it's next Wednesday or next Thursday, so we will remember him as well. Anyone else, please feel free to unmute yourself and to remember a loved one. Miriam.
I was thinking of Rabbi Goldton.
Okay. Jerry?
Harold Cohn, Caleb Malka.
And anybody else? And Sherry, thank you.
My sister-in-law, Linda Werb.
All right, so please rise as you are able, if you have that custom. And Sherry, why don't you lead us in the mourner's Kaddish?
Yitgadal v'yitkadosh Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayeichon v'yamichon. V'chayeidachol Beit Yisrael. Hakalah v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen. Yehei Shmei
Rabbah memarach v'yom Yitbarach v'yitabach v'yitamar v'yitamar v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shmei Dekudusha B'richu Ve'ila min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nachamata Yamiran be'oma v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba mitznaya V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav Huya oseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
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 Thank you, everyone. So I will invite Jim to make any relevant announcements, and then anyone else who would like to make an announcement, I invite you to do so.
Well, our book group is going to be meeting a week from tomorrow to talk about the mystery novel, Murder Duet by Batya Gur. That's at 7:30 on Sunday, April 4th. And then a week later, on April 11th at 7:30, we're going to have a Schmooze and Learn. Our Minyan member and good friend Ben Friedman, professor at Harvard of economics, is going to talk to us. And he's going to talk about the afterlife, how it emerged as a concept in the Jewish community, and how it contributed to how Christians borrowed and developed that concept.
It seems like it's going to be coming from his book called Religion and Economics, or Economics and Religion. I forget which one gets top billing, but it's sure to be fascinating. Is that it, Jim?
Yeah, that's all I got. Wow. I mean, we have services tomorrow, but you'll talk about that.
Right. Go ahead, Harriet.
I just have a question. I saw in the announcements that you're leading a Seder at 6 tonight or something like that.
Yes.
Is that just at Brookline Center, or is someone who has come to some of our events but isn't a member of the Minyan?
Anyone is welcome. Anyone is welcome to join. It's at the usual address. So if someone is without a Seder tonight, please feel free to tune in at 6 o'clock. It should be.
Is that going to be? I'm sorry. Is that going to be a traditional Seder? I have a cousin. I just want to tell about it.
Traditional-ish.
Traditional. Okay.
Traditional-ish. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. A read through of the Maxwell House. But it will also.
Okay.
It'll also not be completely impressionistic. So it'll be.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We have another event coming up. It's not too soon to start talking about it. On June 12th,
Right.
Rabbi Jim is going to have his bar mitzvah. Mazel tov. And there's going to be some other folks, some men and women who are going to join along and have their B'nai Mitzvah. And we're also going to have that as a tzedakah event. And so in honor of Rabbi Jim and the others who are B'nai Mitzvah, we invite you to contribute. Send your contribution directly to Hillel. I put out an announcement. You'll be getting a letter. It's very simple. You just send your contribution to Hillel and put in that it's for this event, for the tzedakah event at Worship and Study.
Yes, it should
I
be.
get that right, Lori? Lori is really the brains behind this project.
Absolutely perfect.
And we are, and so I'm hoping, I can't promise, but I'm hoping that we will have the opportunity to gather on that morning at 100 Center Street in Brookline, in what's called the Skyline Cafe, which is this beautiful room up on the 10th floor with great views of Boston. So I'm hoping that we will be able to gather in person, but obviously it's too soon to make any kind of assumptions about that. But God willing, we will be at least have an option to be in person for that celebration.
The Skylight Room is a very large room. So if
it's a very large room, and but it could be a very large crowd with 12 people celebrating B'nai Mitzvah. So we'll see. We'll have to figure out how to manage the logistics as we figure out what they are. Miriam, did you have an announcement?
Contributions put in the ray line on the check that's what it's for, so that Hillel will not separate a cover letter or something from the check and then put it into the general funds.
We've alerted the Hillel people so that hopefully they know that our tzedakah checks will be coming in April and May. They need the money by June 1 for the end of their fiscal year.
By June 1, not July 1.
No, when Annette says June 1, it's June 1. Because they need all of June to do the processing and the letters and stuff like that.
Okay.
All right. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful last. If you delay your refraining from chametz until the very end of right up until the end, enjoy your last a little bit of challah. Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
Yeah, do you want to remind people what time we're doing services and when?
Great. Yeah, so tomorrow we will have services at 10, and then again on Monday at 10. And so I invite you all to join us for those services, hoping we can have a minyan for both of them, so that we will so each of the two buildings that can hold services in Brookline will be able to have a full service. Next week on Saturday and Sunday, we will also have services both days. Both days will be Yizkor, to accommodate again the residents in the two buildings. So feel free to come on both days or one day as you wish. But if both days are free, think about coming on the day that's going to be less populated, so we can be more likely to have a minyan. All right.
You can put me in for chapter 4 for.
Say it again, Sherry.
Could you put me in for chapter 4 for Shir HaShirim?
Oh, right, and Shir HaShirim, right. So Shir HaShirim, we're going to have Shir HaShirim next Shabbos. It's not only the 7th day of Pesach, it's also Shabbat Chol HaMoed. And so we will be reading Song of Songs. So if you'd like to chant in Hebrew, that'd be great. If you'd like to read in English, that would also be great. So feel free to email me and let me know that you'd like to participate. Sounds good. Any other questions? So 6 o'clock tonight, feel free to join us. And thanks to everyone for being here and making a wonderful minyan. Yesh koach to Norma and to Adina and to Jim and to Susan for their, and also to Ruth for reading the Haftarah. And we will close with Adon Olam, which is on page 2. I always forget. Page 211. 211. Adon Olam Hashem Allah B'terem kol yitzir nivra v'yetzir yifzo kol azai melech shemo nichra azai melech shemo nikra v'acharei kiklo takol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu ve vehu yihye betifara vehu yihye betifara vehu echad v'yein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira b'li reishit b'li tachlit Velo haoz v'hamisra, velo haoz v'hamisra, v'hu eli, v'chai govali, v'tzor chevli, v'et zahara, v'hu nisi, umanos li, v'nat kosi b'yom mekra, v'nat kosi b'yom mekra, b'yado, Afkid ruchi b'yetishan v'ya'ira b'him ruchi gviati Adonai li v'lo ira Adonai li v'lo ira. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hag
Shabbat Shalom,
Sameach.
everyone.
Hag Sameach, everybody.
Hag Sameach.
Hag Sameach, Barbie.
Hag Sameach. Hag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi Jim, can you stay after 1 second and talk to me?
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbos Lois, good Shabbos Nickel, good Shabbos Ellen and Ellen,
Thank
and
you.
Harriet and Mary and Marty.
Thank you.
Rabbi Jim, can you stay after 1 second and talk to me? Oh, okay.
Hag Sameach.
Jim,
Hag Sameach.
Bye, Lori.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, Helen. Great
Bye.
to see you. Bye-bye, Sue.
Bye.
Jim,
Bye.
it's Marty.
Yeah, Marty.
Thank you for a nice little service.
You're welcome, Marty. Nice to see you.
Good, thank you.
Sherry, there's a bunch of people who are just sort of hanging around. Do you want
I know.
to end and come back?
Oh, okay.
Or let's see. That's
I mean, it's not.
if it's not private, then it's fine. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's private or not.
Oh.
I'm just trying to encourage you to come on Sunday night.
Hold on 1 second. Let me just. Yeah, let's end and come back.
Okay, great.